Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English News Edition, brought to you live from RTD channel. Coming up in this edition, concerning the World Fund, the Minister of Health continues a series of meetings with technical as well financial partners in Geneva, and continues stagnant drainage operations. And on the African news, the Algerian government has announced the acquisition of NGOs against the campaign of arrest of migrants from Africa. Let's begin with the news with this obituary. Fatima Ahmed Dambil died in the night of Thursday at 3 a.m. in a hospital in Turkey. Let's recall the Republic of Djibouti lost a national icon born in 1948 in Djibouti. The deceased was one of the emblematic figures of cultural life in Djibouti, and especially in the 1970s, the most popular performer of the Djiboutian song. She had to her credit the largest repertoire of songs in the country. She arrived in Djibouti in 1971 after serving the National Artistic Troupe of Mogadishu, a radio where she was one of the languages of the Somali nation. Fatima Hassan Ahmed Dambil is a flagship singer of her generation. She was amazed during his career. Many music lovers through his teen, pleasant and engaging voice. She has campaigned in independent bodies where she lived an artist committed in every sense of the term, and in all areas, social and cultural as well, political. The head of state, Ismail Margile, has announced that the national funeral will be rendered to pay a final tribute to the deceased Fatima Hassan Dambil. The body of the deceased will be repatriated and will be buried in Djibouti, according to the head of state, Ismail Margile. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And now in Geneva, on the sidelines of the 71st World Health Assembly, the Health Minister, Dr. Jamal Mouki, accompanied by senior executives from his department, continued his series of meetings with the technical and financial partners of his department. In particular, he led the working meetings with the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, as well as malaria. The Health Minister also told the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria the wish to see the national institution again and again ensure the full and entire subsidy granted to Djibouti. To this aim, the package of measures taken to strengthen and improve the coordination and technical capacity of the three priority health programs, HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria, was fully described. The Global Fund has a pledge to provide a response as soon as possible on the operational modalities required for such a transition. In addition, the Health Minister spoke with Mr. Pascal Bilvazade, Director of the Country Support Program Department of the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. The discussion focused on the ways and means of strengthening Djibouti's commitment to a high level of performance in the implementation of the current grant, with the focus of an increase in the budget allocated to our country. In Djibouti now, stagnant water evacuation operations are at present underway in the capital traffic arteries, as well as garbage clearing on the road and the neighborhood. These operations have mobilized civil protection professionals and representatives of the security forces. It is in this sense that all the security forces were mobilized today: the police, the gendarmerie, the Djiboutian Army Forces, the firemen, the Coast Guard, the National Navy had to roll up their sleeves in order to help the disaster relief. A delegation headed by the mayor of Djibouti City, Fatuma Awali Osman, went to the various sites to see the remarkable job done by all the agents and police. It is also a question of repairing damaged sanitation infrastructure following the torrential rains that hit the capital capital and the Terror regions during the night of Saturday to Sunday. At the same time, wastewater evacuation and cleaning operations for the benefits of the victims are currently being carried out in the various neighborhoods of the capital. It should be noted that our country was hit by Cyclone Sagar, which ravaged Yemen as well as Somalia. According to an interim report provided by the Directorate General for Civil Protection, the loss of life is limited at the moment to the deaths of one person and to another missing person. The material, let's recall, damage is reflected in many houses totally or partially damaged. And following the bad weather of Saturday, May 19, 2018, that caused the flooding of nearly 16 schools in the capital, the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training has mobilized all its resources for the work of sanitation and cleaning of all the schools affected. The MENFOB benefited from the technical support of the civil protection agents, but also from the assistance of the State Secretariat for Social Affairs and the Ministry of Decentralization. UNICEF has also provided substantial financial support for this mission. The Cosmes company also has mobilized motor pumps for the evacuation of water and sanitation of the schools of La Plaine, Arhiba, Al Hurriya, the College of Humbuli, as well as Leek, which requires much more efforts and means. To date, MENFOB maintainers are doing the final cleanups in classrooms and schoolyards so they can accommodate students on Sunday, May 27 for the 5th grade exam known as OTI. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, wished to express his sincere thanks to his colleagues Muna Osman Aden and Hamad Mohammed Aramis, respectively Secretary of State for Social Affairs and Minister Delegate for Decentralization, for their support during this work of sanitation schools, high schools. He also thanked Lieutenant Colonel Mahmoud Moussa, a Civil Defense Commander, for his constant support and availability at all times. The Teacher Training Center for Basic Education hosted the closing ceremony of a training workshop in African Francophone literature for the benefits of trainers and pedagogical advisors. Executive Director Aisha Farah El-Tire, accompanied by Director of Training, Educational Innovation and Partnership Awal Abdul Qadir Hirsi, chaired the closing of this training workshop, which was given by Virgin Bricker from the University of Bourgogne. The objective of the training was to transpose the didactic of the study of certain works of or extracted from French language literacy text in Africa. The Executive Director congratulated the participants for their seriousness and diligence during this training workshop and did not fail to thank the experts on this occasion. Aisha Farah El-Tire recommended that the trainers put into practice the achievement of this training on a daily basis. The expert training, Virginia Brinker, added that the group of participants showed great professionalism during this week and that all the objectives were achieved. The closing ceremony saw the presentation of certificates of participation of trainers and educational advisors. His Royal Highness the Prince Faisal bin Bandar bin Abdul Aziz, Emir of the Riyadh region, received on Wednesday, May 23, in his office in the Governorate of Riyadh, the capital region of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Din Makhrama, Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in Riyadh, accompanied by representatives of the groups in the Diplomatic Corps accredited to Saudi Arabia, as well as ambassadors of Eritrea, Oman, Argentina, Austria, Singapore and Canada. The Dean of the Diplomatic Corps presented to the Emir of Riyadh greetings on the occasion of the blessed month of Ramadan on behalf of the Diplomatic Corps to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and discussed on several points of interest to the residents diplomats in the capital Riyadh. For his part, the Emir of Riyadh asked the Dean to convey his greetings to his colleagues accredited ambassador to Saudi Arabia. As part of the blessed month of Ramadan, the United States Ambassador to Djibouti, Mr. Lahi Andre, organized an iftar in Dakhil on Wednesday, May 23. Some 14 personalities from the city of the unit were invited at this event. Ambassador Anglais began his tour with a courtesy visit to the prefect of the city, Mohammed Sheikh Hassan. Discussions between the two leaders focus on the relation between the two countries and the development partnership undertaking the regions. Then the U.S. ambassador joined the guests, who included religious and customary leaders, head of decentralized service, and ranks of different bodies. The deputy prefect, Yusuf Ali, did not fail to thank the ambassador and his team for making such a long journey to share an iftar with the people of Dakhil. He emphasized that this gesture of generosity is the strong symbol of friendship between the two countries and the two people. He underlined also the development activities undertaken within the regions of Dakhil since the installation of the American military base. In his speech, the U.S. Ambassador Larry Anglais highlighted that the iftar tradition was established since the third President of the United States of America, Thomas Jefferson, organized the first official iftar of the U.S. government at the White House in 1805 in favor of Tunisian diplomats. He recalled. He expressed the role and the place of the Muslim community, which has contributed enormously to the universal civilization in the field of science, medicines, arts, as well as commerce and other sectors. All humanity has benefited from this achievement inspired by Islam, he said. The U.S. diplomat ended his speech by introducing the Imam of the U.S. Navy, the Commander Abu Hina Saif al-Islam. And thereafter, the ambassador and his team went next day, Thursday, May 24, to the vegetable garden at the exit of the city of Dakhil. The delegation stopped at the gardens of the famous autodidact in agronomy, Mr. Jama Agidi. He's the father of agriculture in this semi-arid region that the delegation met, a true pioneer who transformed the rocky dunes into a green oasis. The ambassador did not fail to congratulate the energy of this passionate man. He urged him to transmit this love of the earth to the younger generation, what Jama Agedi did not fail to note. The Regional Sub-Directorate of the State Secretariat for Youth and Sport launched the kick-off of the blessed month of Ramadan Tournament, the regions of Tajura. To this end, took part in the ceremony the Vice President of the Regional Council of Tajura, the elected local Abdulqadir Omar, the representative of the prefecture, the deputy director of the region, as well as the managers of the various services. This tournament will take place in the two infrastructure of the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports, especially in the Arkan Sports Complex Tajura and also in the community center of Tajura. The organization of this tournament will be performed on several sports respectively, disciplines such as football, handball, basketball and table tennis. In Algeria now, Algerian government on Thursday denounced the acquisition of NGOs against a campaign of arbitrary arrest of migrants from sub-Saharan Africa and expulsion contrary to international law in that country. Several Algerian NGOs, including the Algerian League for the Defense of Human Rights, activists, trade unions and members of civil society have signed in mid-May a call, "We are all migrants." They denounced a widespread campaign of arbitrary arrest followed by mass and collective expulsion aimed at migrants from sub-Saharan Africa expelled without any decision of justice and the risk of their lives. That's it for the news. Thanks for your attention.